Guys, what is going on? Back again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. Everything I say is my opinion and my opinion alone. Guys, we're jumping right into it today. You're going to hopefully keep this one under 10 minutes. Let's see. We got a tweet here by Hitesh.eth. They say, Stylus is going to be the biggest launch by Arbitrum by far. It's time to wake up and learn about why Stylus is a big deal for the entire blockchain industry. Now, I'm not going to go into the entire thread, but you can go ahead and take a look at it for yourself to see why it actually has so much momentum and why everyone, it seems like, is slowly starting to come to the realization that Stylus really is going to be the game changer that I keep on, and as well as the rest of the Offchain Labs team keeps on thinking that it will be. I think I just want to quickly cover in a nutshell that, just generally speaking, what we're essentially doing is we are essentially broadening the spectrum of developers that'll be able to come into this space and just straight up build. From a very basic perspective, Stylus is essentially the ability to code in different languages other than Solidity, like Rust, C, C++, anything that compiles down to WASM. At the end of the day, you'll essentially be able to come to Arbitrum, deploy a smart contract based on that language. And in this case, Rust is going to be probably the most fully featured one that is going to be available. And Rust alone has, like, I forgot what the metric was, but like vast more developers and much more adoption than obviously Solidity does. So I think it'll be an enormous thing for the Arbitrum space, but even bigger for Ethereum and just crypto generally. It's the first time Ethereum is kind of essentially broadening its horizon in terms of alternate VMs. We're calling it multi-VM now. But nonetheless, it's going to be very, very exciting. So I just wanted to make sure I covered that real quick. Take a look at Hitesh's tweet thread here. You're going to be seeing a lot of Stylus-related stuff coming, especially in these videos. I'm just going to try to keep on hammering it down as people kind of continue to talk about it as we aim towards hopefully mainnet launch if the DAO approves it, as well as just support for other Orbit chains that are going to plan on integrated as well. So shout out to Hitesh for the thread. Yeah, let's keep going. Speaking of orbits, we have a tweet here by Caldera. They say, introducing Guardian nodes. Decentralize your network and raise funds for your project by enabling anyone to run nodes for your Arbitrum Orbit chain. Learn more below. I'm actually going to go into this tweet right here, since this is probably the most relevant for teams. Put simply, our Guardian node system enables teams to level up security via decentralization, raise significant funds for their project, supercharge their branding community, and generate demand for native token. Shout out to Caldera, great team. Obviously, them alongside Conduit and some of the other ROS providers are obviously moving extremely quick with having all these different chains and all these different teams reaching out to them, wanting to deploy. I wanted to also give a shout out, of course, to Sobi, the folks over at Zai as well, and the ecosystem there. They were the first ones to popularize the node sale meta, and it's kind of crazy now that we actually have what do you want to call it, like a rubric or a framework that ROS is now putting together to essentially give to teams that wanted to deploy it, that want to use the same kind of model. At least that's, to my understanding, it's pretty much kind of what they started. So shout outs to Caldera for creating a product that is clearly in demand and people want. And of course, the folks over at Zai for, coming up with it in the first place. Speaking of node sales, I think HighChain actually did one a little while ago, but they actually announced the first game coming to HighChain, which is an Arbitrum Orbit chain. Loot Legends, a mobile-first roguelite dungeon crawler RPG powered by HighPlay. Prepare yourself for an adventure filled with endless dungeons, PvP raids, fierce battles, and legendary loot. Are you ready? This game looks sick, dude. Look at this. I'm like this literally looks kind of like. It's almost like if you told me I could play, there used to be this mobile game I used to play a long time ago, but it's like a mix of like a mobile game that I used to play and a little bit of MapleStory, but on the phone, because apparently this is mobile first. That's amazing. I'm actually really looking forward to playing this, and again, just dope to see the Arbitrum gaming ecosystem continue to grow. It's pretty insane how quickly it's growing and how many people are continuing to launch both chains and projects on it. So yeah. Very excited for very excited for Loot Legends. Shout out to the HighChain team for onboarding them. Speaking of gaming, this is obviously another big one. We have a tweet here by Dan. He said it's been 6+ months of exciting collaboration with delegates, studios, gamers, and the wider Arbitrum community to create this amazing $200 million ARB program to catalyze gaming across Arbitrum. Thanks again to all the people who have been involved to make this happen, and kind of includes shout outs here to some of the folks at Zai, Treasure, Proof of Play, and some other teams as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on the tally vote here. Essentially, this is the AGCP, I think is or I guess the GCP, CGP. The proposal to essentially create more or less of an entity to help catalyze gaming, and of course, with tons of funding behind it. I think he said 200 million ARB, which at current prices is, I think about like what, $210 million or something like that. I think when they first announced it, it was like, 500 million. But obviously, as the price of ARB fluctuates, so will the end, funding will also fluctuate as well. So this vote is live right now on Tally. As Dan said earlier, it did pass Snapshot already, and it looks like you have until June 7th to vote, either for, against, or abstain. If you do hold ARB in any fashion, or if you delegate to someone holding ARB, make sure to let them know to vote. Yeah, definitely exciting times, guys. The DAO does not stop at all. Frankly, there's always tons of things happening. Speaking of things happening, there's actually another vote going to go live relatively soon, I think in 2 days. This is the proposal to allocate 1 million ARB to CoinCenter and Fund DeFi. Of course, on Tally right now, on chain. This, I guess it did pass the Snapshot vote already, so they went ahead and posted it here. But essentially, just to give a kind of a quick overview of it, I think this might be it. This proposal this proposal, I would think, gives a monetary contribution to DEF and CoinCenter from the Arbitrum DAO to continue their policy, litigation, and advocacy efforts in relation to open source software and software developers' rights. They mentioned a couple of things here, but I think I think the main thing that they're kind of trying to hopefully to fund, from what I understand, was some of the Tornado Cash devs stuff. At least that was my understanding. I think initially they had put it up and they'd taken it back down, I think just for like legal reasons. But I think in a nutshell, by funding these two just different companies, or these two different organizations, they'll be able to essentially fund similar, if not the same, I guess you could say, battles against things that go against software developers' rights as well as open source software, with funding backed by the DAO. Jeez, that was so much wording. Nonetheless, in this case, they're looking for 1 million ARB, which is about currently 1.1 million USD. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. This is probably the first proposal, I think, that would actually go live. And there wouldn't actually necessarily be a direct benefit for the immediate Arbitrum community. Goes without saying, this benefits everybody, to be clear. So, just want to say that. And I think it's a really, really cool initiative, actually, personally speaking. So I'm interested to see what people do. Again, at past Snapshot, it seems like with flying colors. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tally maybe follows the same suit. But again, you never know, since this is the fully on-chain vote now. All right, and ending today's video, we have a tweet here by the Arbitrum Foundation. Arbitrum has just processed over 1 billion transactions across Arbitrum One and Arbitrum Nova. We've come so far as an ecosystem, and yet our growth has only just begun. Thank you for building with us. And I'll read this second tweet they have here as well. Arbitrum is growing rapidly with over 600 teams building, 2 DAO-governed chains, and over 50 Orbit chains in development. Our scaling has only begun with Stage 2 decentralization and multi-VM support as the North Star. We look forward to continuing to scale with all of you. Yeah, it's been an insane journey. I mean, just being here working at Offchain Labs for literally close to 3 years now, actually, almost 3 years. I've seen this ecosystem go essentially from nothing to all these different teams, projects, community members, etc. And now transactions, 1 billion transactions. That's insane to even fathom. I'm hoping that the next milestone posted actually includes Orbit chains because of how much transaction activity is actually happening on a good amount of them. But nonetheless, yeah, it's insane. I think it's funny because I think now more than ever, there is a lot more different alternatives, different kind of layer 2s, layer 1s that you can choose to deploy on instead of Arbitrum. But it's so funny because I feel like the value prop is still there even after almost 3 years. Still one of the biggest communities. Still has obviously, is one of the most liquid. Has the most builders coming on. And of course, is the most innovative and decentralized. Guys, Stage 2 decentralization and multi-VM support, Those two things alone, that's going to bring Ethereum and Arbitrum so far, as well as the broader crypto ecosystem, I think we're really underrating it right now. Especially, I guess I just look forward to seeing more people talking about it. Again, people are starting to come around to talking more about stylus, which is great. I get some of this stuff isn't really that, I guess, sexy technically. But when you see the apps that come from it, maybe then it'll be a little more sexy. Anyways, all right, guys. That being said, I appreciate you for watching. I think I hit the 10-minute mark. I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right. Enjoy your weekend and have a good one.